Getting Madigan out of that extremely powerful post he's held for so many years is the first step to reforming our state.
Right now on WQAD News 8 at 9, mixed messages. Why some are calling for new leadership in Springfield as Illinois moves forward without a budget. Plus, an unexpected boost. The big plans for Scott Community College to expand in Davenport.
Now, live from WQAD, News 8 at 9 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Johnny Gendrich. We begin with a developing story tonight. Kewanee firefighters are responding to a gas explosion that destroyed a home tonight. That's according to the Star-Courier newspaper. A News 8 viewer sent us these pictures of the scene. It happened on the 800 block of May Street. There was reportedly someone inside the home at the time and they were taken to the hospital. Be sure to stay with us for more information as it comes in. And some of our viewing area needing to be extra cautious out on the roads tonight. Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist James Zahara joins us with the first check of our forecast. James?
Yeah, Johnny, I think those areas that we're talking about are mainly well north of the Quad Cities, especially around Jackson County in Iowa, as well as Joe Davies in Illinois. Now, even though we don't see any wet weather going on, especially rain, light rain, freezing light rain, drizzle, you name it. The roadways there on Highway 20, even some of the smaller roadways, like around 51, still could be quite slick out there because of the freezing drizzle that took place a little bit earlier on, like around the late afternoon hours or so. So I would say that's the area to be concerned about through most of the night. Otherwise, we're just talking about clouds throughout the rest of our hometowns. There was a concern about some dense fog as well, but as you can see in areas especially to our south and east, where we did have the dense fog advisory, we're getting a little bit more mixing of the air, so the visibility is improving nicely. Currently in the Quad Cities, 31 degrees. After a daytime high of 46 degrees, we'll expect these temperatures to stay below freezing, not only for the rest of the evening, but there's going to be a little bit of a stretch here of temperatures staying below freezing. I'll tell you for how long, coming up in just a few minutes. Johnny?
All right, thanks, James. A new year brings a new session and new lawmakers in Illinois. Today, the 100th General Assembly was sworn in at the University of Illinois Springfield. Two new faces are representing our area. Democrat Mike Halpin from Rock Island replaces Pat Verschoor, who retired, and Republican Tony McCombie of Savannah, who beat out Mike Schmitty. Both representatives say they're hopeful the new legislature can bring change.
I'd like to say that I'm hopeful and not naive. I am very hopeful, and I think I really do believe that the 100th Assembly is going to be a different animal and that we are going to get this passed.
Challenging time for the state, but I'm excited to be here and actually take what the constituents have told me over the past year as I go door to door, take that, try to get some legislation passed that's going to help people in our area.
The biggest issue facing the new legislature is the budget. Illinois has operated without one since July of 2015. A push to bring new leadership to Illinois failed in Springfield today. The new General Assembly voted to keep Michael Madigan as Speaker of the House. Madigan has held that position for 30 years. In our continuing coverage of the budget battle tonight, News 8's Jenna Morton tells us if lawmakers are any closer to a compromise.
Johnny, Madigan received 66 votes while Republican leader Jim Durkin received 51. Some were hoping a change in leadership could have meant a change for Illinois.
We like Mike! We like Mike! Why? Why?
Outside, two different messages could be heard.
Getting Madigan out of that extremely powerful post he's held for so many years is the first step to reforming our state.
Mike Madigan has been a great supporter of working people. He has supported not only unions, but all working people in the state of Illinois.
There's been a push to urge lawmakers to vote Mike Madigan out of the speaker's seat, a position he's held for 30 years. Some calling it a change Illinois needs.
I don't think it's healthy for any position to be held for that long. I really don't. Whether he's doing a good job or a bad job, it's irrelevant. He's been doing it for too long.
Jim Durkin as Speaker.
And inside the message carried on, lawmakers came up one by one to give their input on who should be Speaker, Mike Madigan or Republican leader Jim Durkin. In the end, there were not enough votes to dethrone Madigan.
To the best of my ability.
He was sworn in for his 17th term as Speaker.
As we move forward, let us work to end the acrimony.
Now some can only hope a new year will mean new attitudes. Lawmakers calling out Speaker Madigan.
I'm asking you, Mr. Speaker, to stop the gotcha votes, the purely political votes that do nothing to resolve the state's debt.
Republican leaders and the governor to come together and put the arguing aside.
That we have to do better than what we have been doing the past 2 years.
Over the past few days, legislative leaders said they had been able to find some common ground on budget negotiations, but they decided that they're going to leave it up to this new General Assembly to finish the job. Reporting in Springfield, Illinois, Jenna Morton, WQAD News 8.
Thank you, Jenna. Only one Democrat refused to support Madigan. State Representative Scott Drury of Highwood simply voted present. President-elect Donald Trump said for the first time today that Russia is likely behind the hacks during the presidential election. Trump held a news conference today for the first time in nearly 6 months. He took questions about Russia, the future of his businesses, and his plans for the Affordable Care Act. The president-elect denied Russians are holding compromising personal and financial information on him, which was published in unverified reports.
I think it's a disgrace that information would be let out. I saw the information, I read the information outside of that meeting. It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Trump says his administration is working on a hacking defense report, which will be released in the next 90 days. Illinois Senator Richard Durbin is calling for a special investigation into the unverified reports that Russia may have tried to influence the U.S. election. In a statement, Durbin said the allegation that an American president could be susceptible to blackmail by a hostile foreign government is historic and deeply troubling. He's calling for a select committee of people in Congress to handle the independent investigation. Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of State was questioned by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee today. Rex Tillerson is the former CEO of ExxonMobil. He faced tough questions about his business and his ties with Russia. Today, Republican Senator Marco Rubio asked Tillerson whether he backs sanctions on Moscow.
Sanctions, in order to be implemented, do impact American business interest. It's important in designing sanctions that, as I've said, that they're carefully crafted, they're carefully targeted with an intended effect, and then enforced.
Trump's pick for Transportation Secretary also appeared before a Senate committee today. The city of Davenport is trying to figure out what to do with the old Davenport dump lot. It's considering plans from Nestle Purina to build a parking lot along River Drive. The company wants to build a lot to fit 360 trucks on West River Drive near the plant. Nestle Purina wants to lease the 19-acre lot from the city for $1 a year for 5 years, while they invest money trying to improve it. But some members on the Levee Improvement Committee say a truck lot doesn't fit in with their vision for the riverfront.
Our long-range plan, after many, many public hearings, is to develop the Davenport riverfront as park. And we have probably the best riverfront on the upper Mississippi River. So that's the plan is submitted to us is in conflict with that concept.
The Levee Improvement Commission rejected the deal. The goal is to work on a compromise between having a parking lot and space for a park. Budget problems could force the Rock Island Milan School District to reduce spending by $1 million. The school board says a 5-year financial projection shows the district could be more than $4 million in the hole by the 2021-22 school year. Administrators are now working to find ways of slashing spending before the next school year begins. The new 1% sales tax is not included in this budget because the money is earmarked for building construction and renovations. The Galesburg School District faces nearly $2 million in budget cuts for the upcoming school year. Board members are now considering cutting 10 teacher and librarian positions. The district is also facing several $1 million worth of mandated repairs to the buildings throughout the district. Because of declining enrollment and overcapacity, the board is considering combining grade levels differently and closing some school buildings. An extra $2 million is fueling plans for an urban campus in downtown Davenport. The added cash is a surprise from the sale of 2 former bank buildings. It will allow Scott Community College to add even more to the project. Those enhancements should help attract more students.
Our primary intention was to make sure that we served the urban community in downtown Davenport with the highest quality programs and services that we could afford.
If somebody would have said 10 years ago that you would see this kind of change in our 1980s downtown, they would have thought you're crazy.
The urban campus will replace classes at the Call Building and Ground Transportation Center. It's expected to open about a year from now in January 2018. One Davenport school says it's seen a big drop in flu cases. St. Paul Apostle Schools has seen a 50% drop in cases in the last 3 years. The school has hand sanitizer in every single one of its classrooms and makes sure it sanitizes hand railings and drinking fountains. They also urge students to use water bottles. The principal says having students vaccinated has actually made the biggest difference. Flu vaccinations remain available. The Illinois House has approved a bill that would require schools and daycare centers to test for lead in drinking water. In the last year, some schools in Illinois have voluntarily tested for lead, but the state law doesn't require it. Tests cost $15, and officials say it would protect students from lead exposure. 2 Missouri men are coming back to Iowa to face murder charges in the death of a Burlington teen. Investigators say Jaron Perham and Jorge Sanders Galvez shot and killed Kadari Johnson back in March. Both men face first-degree murder charges. They were arrested in the St. Louis area. There's much more to come right here on WQAD News 8 at 9. Still ahead, parents charged with murder. The gruesome discovery police found inside a family-owned restaurant. And caught on camera, the search for the man who robbed a dance studio and returned wearing what he stole.
You're watching WQAD News 8 at 9 with Johnny Gendrich.